Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Biafran Golden Child, the real Biafran Golden Child. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're hearing my voice from. This is the Biafra Golden Child, and I'm always elated to interact with fellow Biafran lovers, fellow peace lovers, fellow people of Biafra extraction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening once again. Hope you are doing well. Yes, it's always a pleasure to interact with you. Yeah, this morning I want to comment briefly about what is happening at UROMI in Edo State. Yes, I'm sure a lot of you are aware of the recent developments there. How it was that a truck conveying a vehicle that had, you know, several occupants in them who, when they were accosted, claimed to be hunters from, you know, not an extraction, not an hunters, who said they were based in Port Harcourt. They were based in Port Harcourt and they wanted to travel via Uromi down to the northern states or Sala. And so, but of course, when the Uromi vigilante people searched their truck, beside the truck, they saw that these people were heavily armed. They saw ammunitions. They saw guns, AK-47 guns. They saw machete. And in fact, from a very reliable account, one of the so-called hunters, while the vigilante were searching the truck, actually, stabbed, attempted to kill one of the vigilantes, stabbed him severally. In fact, it was because of this that eventually the vigilante raised alarm, and 16 of these so-called hunters, were given, a mob action. They were given a mob action. They were burnt, fires were brought, and they were attacked and burnt, erased like, criminals, common criminals. Of course, the people said why they attacked them was because they saw that these people, you know, could have been kidnappers or could be, involved in one, negativity or the other. I mean, because of the enormous ammunition in their disposition, the weaponry in their disposition, and of course the monies that were found in their possession. Yes, that was what happened. Those people were erased. They were made unalive. And so unfortunately, the video of this arrest and eventual, you know, erasure or deletion went viral. And of course, people started coming out to say from the north that these Muslim people were not kidnappers. They were actually Muslim pilgrimage hunters who were going a pilgrimage to celebrate the Salah with their people in Kanu. Ever since then, mayhem has been let loose. Yes, mayhem has been let loose. The federal government took it upon itself, to make all kinds of threats that reprisal action must take place. Why did Uromi people, you know, take the laws into their hands? They have directed the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, you know, all manners of government security functionaries to go and deal vehemently and decisively with Uromi people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard that some arrests have been made and some vigilantes have been arrested. We have heard that the army has turned Uromi upside down and besieged Uromi. We have heard that all manners of security operatives have held Uromi hostage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Uromi in Delta State, a place where a vigilante group intercepted heavily armed, so-called hunters who could have been a very big threat to the UROMI people, innocent citizens. But because now they have been erased, because they've been made unalive, suddenly the government is awake and threatening to declare a state of emergency, threatening to, you know, completely erase whatever remains of UROMI. In fact, I heard and I've gathered that several people have run away from that community. In fact, the governor of Bebolo of uh, Edo State has had to go and go to Kano and beg, beg the Kano State governor to please forgive and forget. I heard equally has made some financial donations uh, to the hunters' families for them, you know, for there to be a sort of peace and a non-reprisal action. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay attention to this. This is in Uromi. But as I speak to you, sirs, Mars, in Jos, Bassa, recently a Christian farming settlement was attacked with over 35 Christians killed mercilessly, wickedly by Fulani herdsmen and kidnappers from the north. And nothing has been said by the government, nothing has been said by the chief of army staff. Nobody has paid any attention. This is Christians being slaughtered in their own locality. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move down to Benue. To Benue, where there has been a recent attack, in a church. The generator of the torch was set in such a way that it became a bomb. They locked all the doors, brought in the generator, poured fuel on a active generator, the generator that is on, and it set ablaze a whole church, burned people alive, women, children, pastors, their husbands. More than 48 individuals have been killed, Christians. The government has not said anything. The police have not said anything. The army have not said anything. This is in Benue State. Let's move over to Kaduna State. Kaduna State, towards the Zango Kataf area. Again, farmers in their farm were shot when Fulani herdsmen brought in their cattle to invade their crops. They invaded farmlands, destroyed croplands, destroyed their buildings. And when these people said, "Why are you doing this?" When these people said, "Stop that," they started shooting at them. At the last count, more than 23 individuals, farmers and their children, have been killed. There have been no reprisal action. There has been nobody sent down to Kaduna to check or to observe or to monitor what has happened. The government has been silent about it. Ladies and gentlemen, in Ondo State recently too, Fulani herdsmen invaded a community. They went berserk like they are animals. They went berserk and they deleted the life of over 23 farmers and peaceful, loving citizens. That's Ondo State. The government has not set up any high-handed panel. The government have not sent the chiefs of army staff to go and talk to them. The government have not sent security operatives. Ladies and gentlemen, in Enugu recently, not quite a week now, there was a brazen attack, open attack, from Fulani herdsmen who shot, who maimed, who killed, who raped, and who deleted lives of innocent, peaceful, loving villagers who they took unawares because, of course, they said their cattle was attacked while it was marauding, destroying somebody's farmers' crops, their farmlands, and everything they hold, you know, in, they hold there in their life. They hold important in their lives. Nothing has been done. The government of Enugu has been silent. Nothing has been done. The government have not said anything. They have not instituted a high-powered delegation. Ladies and gentlemen, in Ebonyi State, a whole community was wiped out, village destroyed, touched by fire. More than more than 20 people deleted. The governor came out and said this thing was done by unknown people, by unknown assailants. But everybody confirmed it was the Fuläni headsmen who were carrying their AK-47 rifles, who were carrying their bombs and ammunition, heavy weaponry, who were carrying their machete that caused this mayhem in innocent, peaceful, loving farming communities. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Biafrans, I don't know if you're thinking what I'm thinking. I don't know if you're reasoning from my point of view. Every time it is, innocent farmers in the southeast, anytime it is innocent, peaceful, loving Christians that are being attacked, that are being unalived, that are being deleted, the government becomes suddenly very quiet. The government becomes suddenly deaf and dumb. They are not only deaf and dumb, they become blind also. And so nothing is heard, nothing is said about such terrible, terrible, heinous, you know, destruction of lives and property in the southeast, in Christian communities. But the moment it becomes a Muslim affair, like the UROMI attack, people who, vigilantes who caught people who were heavily armed, northern people in a truck with heavy ammunition, with machete, with all kinds of AK-47, and even higher, and when they were asked, when they were searched, their leader stabbed a vigilante. In fact, I heard that vigilante man died minutes later. And so this caused an outrage. This caused, you know, the vigilantes to raise alarm, and people came. And of course, jungle justice was meted out. Yes, 16 Northerners were made unalive. Yes, they were made unalive. And today the government has declared a state of emergency in UROMI community. Every manner of army defense headquarters have moved over. They have carried their platoons down to UROMI land. People are living in fear, utter fear, utter fear, yes, and anxiety. And anxiety. It's a shame. The government has declared that reprisal actions will be taken if these vigilante people were not fished out. Ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria said it's running a country, but apparently it's a tale of two countries when it comes to Islamic people, when it comes to northern headsmen, when it comes to Fuläni jihadists who come to the south and oppress the people, destroy farms and properties with their hearts, murder the people, and burn them alive. Nobody says anything. Everybody is criminally silent. Even the government, even if it talks at all, through the governors who ask the people, who ask the Christians, please bear it. Take it as a biblical injunction. If they slap you in one face, turn the other part of your face and be slapped. Do not fight back. Do not fight back. Let it go. Vengeance is of the Lord. Relax, the God will fight your cause. But when it comes to Islamic jihadists, yes, what do we hear? What do we hear? No, they tell them reprisal action, all all aspects of government security agencies are brought out in the fall, are brought out, you know, are set in motion to arrest, to victimize, and to subjugate people of that community into the highest possible, level of human human attacks and crucifixion. Yes, that's to tell you, maybe the Islamic jihadist life matter. That means in Nigeria, some lives matter most. Yes, when you're a Fuläni headsman carrying AK-47, when you are bombing people, when you're carrying machete and deleting lives and properties, the Christian life does not matter. But when you are a jihadist and you are set ablaze and you are deleted, you are made unalive, all of a sudden, the total machinery of government is put in place to destroy such communities, to destroy whatever remains of such Christians. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you of a recent case of Mr. Sunday. Sunday is a Christian who was in his farm and he was attacked by Fuläni herdsmen who brought their cattle and ravaged his crops. They destroyed all his crops, crops that were almost ripe for uh, harvesting. They ate them, they destroyed them, and they did all manners of destructive tendencies in his farm, including raping his children, raping his daughters, attacking his wife. And when they attempted to machete him, you know, to delete him, Mr. Sunday overpowered one of them and was able to use the machete on him, even though that one has caught him in several places. He was able to overcome such a person and was now able to make that Fulani herdsman unalive. Ladies and gentlemen, the other herdsman ran away, and today as I speak to you, the courts have declared that Mr. Sunday, the farmer who, fought in self-defense, whose farmland was ravaged, whose crops were destroyed, whose family was raped and molested, the court declared that Mr. Sunday was guilty. He was guilty of murder. Why did he not allow the killer man, the Fulani man, to escape? Why did he not allow the Fulani herdsman to kill him instead? Why did he take laws into his hands? When he overpowered the Fulani herdsman, you should have left him and his machete and run away. Why did he, delete the life of the Fulani man? Ladies and gentlemen, the international community have been pleading for Mr. Sunday's life. Mr. Sunday fought in self-defense. Mr. Sunday defended his life. He could have been the one who was made unalive. But of course, because he defended himself, of course, because today he's alive, they have arrested him and given him and sentenced him to death because he fought to save his family. He fought to save his destroyed crops that he and his family live upon as their means of income in life. He fought to save his children, daughters who were raped. He fought to save his wife that could have been killed immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Biafran lovers, I want you guys to know that what is happening in UROMI now is an eye-opener. Should be an eye-opener to every one of us. Yes, you think we stay in a country when we tell you that Nigeria is not a country, it's a zoo. A lot of people say, why are you saying nonsense? That's arrant nonsense. But the truth must be told. How can a country operate like this? How can there be two different laws? One for the Fulani jihadists and another for the Christians. Why must the Christians, when they are destroyed, annihilated, when their properties are destroyed, when their lives are destroyed, what we hear is, don't worry, forgive and forget. You are Christians. When they strike you one cheek, you turn the other. Leave, the vengeance is your Lord, or you want to do the vengeance for your God? No. But when the jihadists do their own, kill our people, destroy our farmlands, destroy our communities in Ebonyi State, in Enugu State, in Anambra State, in Imo State, in Abia State, in Delta State, in the Southwest, Christian regions of Ondo, Ogun State, Osun State. They are, and they are attacked. A high-powered delegation is sent. The governors are meant to go and beg the state of the jihadists. The government comes and threatens that the, the, the army and the highest level echelon of the security should come out en masse and hold people hostages for 16 jihadist hunters who claim to be hunters, 16 kidnappers who claim to be hunters. Now, UROMI has been raised to its standstill. Standstill. Nothing is happening. People are running for their lives. The community is now like a ghost town. Ladies and gentlemen, this must not continue. This must not continue. United States of Biafra is the answer. Yes, we must pursue vigorously the United States of Biafra. We must fight for what is our own. We must fight to achieve our own pre-declared independent sovereign state of Biafra. We must put our hands on deck and support our Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozi Orabueze. Yes, we must fight, we must pursue, we must encourage all Biafran, regional soldiers, regional police, regional uh, 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 armies to make sure our society, our Biafra land is not desecrated by these Fuläni jihadists, by the Boko Haram, by Lakorawa or the Metaila group. These people come claiming to be Islamic missionaries, Islamic missionaries and peace and they claim all manners of things. But how can you be carrying the man who said he's he's on Islamic pilgrimage? How can he be carrying AK-47? How can he be carrying machete? How can he be bombing innocent citizens, Christian citizens? Ladies and gentlemen, enough is enough. We should always clamor around our leaders, our Biafran leaders. We don't have any stake in Nigeria. We don't have any stake outside Biafra land. Everything they do is a mirage. Every peace they promise you is peace of the graveyard. Every every good thing they give you is manota gift. They give it with one hand and they take it with another. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time we told ourselves the truth. We should tell ourselves the truth. Nigeria is not for us. There's nothing like one Nigeria. Nigeria is for the Fulani jihadists. Nigeria is for the Muslim jihadists. Nigeria is for the North, who say they are born to rule, who say it is their right to rule. They want to spread, Islamize the whole country, including the South, including the Biafra land. But God being on our side, with the redeclared United States of Biafra, they will never succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to punctuate it here. A warning is enough for the wise. I've said it the way it is. There's no two ways about it. Every time we see a situation, we must call a spade a spade. Nobody can deceive us further. Yeah, the time for deception has gone. We know the truth. And once you know the truth can set you free. Nigeria has two laws, one against the Christians, one for the Islamic jihadists. If you kill 50 Christians, of course, nothing will be done. They will tell you to forgive and forget. But when you kill 5 jihadists or Fulani jihadists, of course, you expect a complete rundown of your community. You expect a complete destruction of your community. You expect a state of emergency in your community. That is the new law. That is the new rule. That is how it is. A tale of two judgments in one country. May Almighty God save us from this zoo called Nigeria and from this clueless hardship government that has nothing to offer us, either today or tomorrow or in the future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. UROMI should teach us a lesson that we don't have any stake in this government and that our life is at the mercy of the Fuläni jihadists, except we align, except we support, except we collaborate with the redeclared United States of Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, long live the United States of Biafra. Long live our able Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is fighting tooth and nail to emancipate the people of the Biafra Republic. God bless you all. Thank you until we meet again. Thank you.
I want to use this opportunity to call on the committee for prayers for Gowon. Number one in this committee is Dominica Olewune Chinyere Apple, Blessing Nzom, Gregory Onyejuwa, Chinedu Aguyi, and Presence Odohunoge. This committee will be the official prayer warriors for Gowon to be alive till December. Your prayer point is to pray day and night for Gowon to be alive till December. He will be alive and witness something in December of 2024. There is no other prayer point. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to come out in a historic manner. We have promised Biafra that the prayers that were prayed so far is working. And for the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has not given up, believe me, I know what he is made of. Our most important prayer today is for Gowon to be alive till December. Let him not die. It is very, very important, so that the prophecy of our eternal leader will come to pass. He will be alive to see Biafra.